Hello, Peter. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow.
In the opening scene of the movie, Peter and his friends are going to work and they are pissed off. Except Michael Bolton, of course. Samir is very angry. So is Peter. Now, I don't think a normal person may get angry in a traffic jam, but when it happens again, then again, and again, and again, and again, for the 100th time or 500th or the 1000th time, it will blow you up. And perhaps, if something else is going wrong in one's life, it may just play the role of the button in the fire. They may also be unhappy that they don't want to go to work, but they have to. Like a dictatorship, they can't go against, because at the end of the day, they don't hold any power. And perhaps you can say that just quit, just quit your job. But the problem is that it is everywhere. Whether you work as a laborer or at McDonald's or at any tech, there is just no escape. And about confrontation. And confrontation is something that Peter doesn't want, as not everyone is confrontational, and not all the time, which is why he accepts to come work on Saturdays and Sundays even though he can choose not to.
You didn't put one of the new cover sheets on your TPS report?
To talk about your TPS reports.
You having problems with your TPS report?
Now, bureaucracy was or is one of the critiques of the Soviet Union, rather that in a free market things would be frictionless. As Mark Fisher says in his book Capitalist Realism, and quote, "The idealized market was supposed to deliver friction-free exchanges in which the desire of consumers would be met directly without the need of intervention or mediation by regulatory agencies. Yet the drive to assess the performance of workers and to measure the forms of labor which, by their nature, are resistant to quantification has inevitably required additional layers of management and bureaucracy. What we have is not direct comparison of workers' performance or output, but a comparison between the audited representation of that performance and output." As when Peter forgets to put the TPS report covers, he gets confronted or reminded of it by 8 different bosses along with the memo, as due to the extreme surveillance, even a cover sheet won't go unnoticed. As one of the things about this surveillance is that there has to be a perception of work and a healthy workplace, where, for example, when Joanna is asked to increase her flair, even though she has the minimum number of flair, now this scene may also come under quite authoritarianism, as well as she's asked to increase her flair without being explicitly told to do that, as to express herself by not actually expressing herself, but rather appearing to do so in front of customers, essentially doing the PR for the company. As Mark Fisher says, inevitably a short-circuiting occurs and work becomes geared towards generation and massaging of representations rather than the official goals of the work itself. Indeed, an anthropological study of the local government in Britain argues that more effort goes into ensuring that a local authority's services are represented correctly than goes into actually improving those services themselves. It would be a mistake to regard this market Stalinism as some deviation from the true spirit of capitalism. On the contrary, it would be better to say that an essential dimension of Stalinism was inhibited by its association with a social project like socialism, and can only emerge in late capitalist culture in which images acquire an autonomous force. The way value is generated on the stock exchange depends of course less on what a company really does and more on the perception and belief about its future performance. In capitalism, that is to say, all that is solid melts into PR, and late-stage capitalism is defined at least as much by this ubiquitous tendency towards PR production as it is by the imposition of market mechanisms.
So that means that every single day that you see me, that's on the worst day of my life.
Now, what we see in this movie with a lot of characters is their alienation from their job, or to be precise, alienation from their labor. Peter, his friends, Milton, Tom, Joanna, all of them are alienated. Now, the way Peter explains his work as the worst day of his life, essentially, every day he goes to work, it's the worst day of his life. Now, we don't even properly know what specifically he does and why. Like, what even is his purpose, and that is something to remember, because he works but doesn't know or understand what even that he has accomplished, that what he has contributed. Now that's something which leaves him empty, but he is stressed. He is stressed of every minute mistake he'll be called for. As Ramona Santos writes and quote, he is so alienated from his job that more of it he does, the less of him remains. He denies himself of things that truly resonate with his person in favor of his job, and comes out of it physically and mentally exhausted, all while Initek makes more money and Lumberg buys more nice ties and suspenders. And alienation is the theme of the movie. The only reason Peter and people are stuck doing their jobs is due to the uncertainty as what will they do about bills, which indeed is something that is used as leverage against them. As in the film, there's a question that what will one do if they had $1 million? Now the thing about it is, as Michael Bolton points out about this exercise, is that it's figuring out what they'll do as they actually won't have them. Now, what this question does is essentially propagates the myth of meritocracy in capitalism, that anyone can succeed in capitalism if only they had an idea, as the only way we see someone make a million is through an accident. Now, Tom is happy despite being an accident and being disabled for a while, as he gets $1 million. Now, one of the reasons or main reasons why he's happy is because he now has financial security, which he didn't in the earlier part of the movie, where he was scared or even paranoid to some extent about losing his job, and after he loses it, he tries to kill himself, as he's happy that he does not have to work a single day in his life in fear and paranoia, and that the only way he achieves it is through sheer luck. And despite getting $1 million in his luck and no talent of his own, he still gives advice to Peter about hanging in there, as either he's completely deluded or just strong, or just trying to make a small talk, I guess. I don't know. But at the end, I'd say is that how much dystopian world do we live in when an accident and being disabled is the best thing to happen to a person.
Hey, what's going on here? Get a room, you two. Me. I hate that.
Now, the waiter guy is annoying in the movie, but why is he annoying to us? Now, unlike Peter and others, he is not class conscious. He is happy-spirited, energetic, and completely oblivious to his class position, which is annoying to us because we have somewhat become class conscious, and we are wondering what is he so happy about. Sort of leaves us puzzled, and also he is the idle worker for the capitalist. Doesn't complain, has the badges, doesn't budge, greets people with enthusiasm, and looks happy like a child, leaving us annoyed. Well, thanks for watching. Tell me what you think of the essay or the movie. And in case you haven't watched the movie, then watch it. Duh. And bye bye until next time, I guess. Adios.